Hey everyone, DJ Vivienne here. I am here with Harry Shadow, and he's our latest signing on Point Blank Recordings with his new track with Vivienne. And the track is called Dreams. It's a cover of a Fleetwood Mac song. So you were the producer behind this track. What did you find when you were making the track? Did you create it from scratch as a Dreams cover, or did you have like another track in mind? You kind of altered it for that kind of purpose?
No, well, I think with this one, as it's such a sort of classic, epic song, it was just about trying to sort of retain some of that vibe. So yeah, we just started with a vocal from Ella, really. Tried to kind of steer clear of getting in the way of the song, really. So it was definitely sculpted around it. Yeah.
So we're looking at your screen right now, and you're using Cubase. We don't teach Cubase here. We do Logic and Ableton. But how long have you been using Cubase?
Quite a long time. I sort of been through them all, really. I started on Pro Tools, did a bit of Logic. I can't remember why I got into Cubase, but yeah, I've been using it for about 10 years, and it's the best. It's the best there is.
Well, everyone's got their own thing. It doesn't matter what you use.
No.
It's all about what comes out at the end anyway.
Exactly.
So with this, what would you say is the biggest part of this track?
Definitely the vocals. But other than that, I think the synths were definitely doing the biggest bit of talking in this track, I think. It was just trying to sort of create that space, like we were saying, not too much sort of chordal information. It was more about sort of the bass sort of moving around, giving you that sort of grounding. Yeah, and lots of sort of Stranger Things type arpeggiating synths. Tried to go a bit of sort of vintage vibes on it, and yeah.
I did hear in the interview, you were saying that you were quite inspired by Camel Fat and with Panic Room, and I do kind of get those vibes from this.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that tune. And obviously you'll be able to hear some inspiration there, sort of with the arpeggiating synths and that sort of driving 80s thing, which I absolutely love. So,
awesome.
Yeah.
So let's hear a little bit of the track for the audience to hear.
Yeah, cool.
Beautiful. Love it. Let's go through how you process the vocals, and then after that, let's take a look at the synths that you use to create that kind of dreamy landscape.
Sure. I think with this one, the production came quite quick, so I was just sort of dropping plugins on stuff rather than being particularly engineering. So I'd send the vocals to the delays and reverbs, but in this one it was just about dropping it on. Got a bit of OTT, bit of Devil Lock, bit of EQ. Can't remember what we had. Something quite subtle there. Bit of dynamic EQ, just to pull out some sort of harshnesses. Yeah, and then just love the Valhalla stuff. So I got a Valhalla delay, actually quite subtle. So I think there are some other sort of delayed vocals underneath, which I can show you in a minute. A bit of vintage verb from Valhalla as well. Just absolutely love their stuff. Yeah, and behind all that, I've got this other channel, which is kind of a duplicate of the lead, which has got loads of other stuff on it as well. So kind of a similar setup, but filtered down, and with a lot more sort of delays and reverbs. But it is pushed back sort of maybe a beat or two behind, so you get this sort of, if I just play that on its own. So it
gives that spacey vibe.
Yeah, super dreamy, and you'll hear it's kind of after the lead vocal. Yeah, so it's kind of drenched in sort of dreamy delays and that sort of stuff. Yeah, and then there's some BVs. I think these are just some Rs. Yeah, really nice vocals from Ella there, from Vivienne, should I say. Yeah, and I think all of these vocals are going through a group, and I've just cheekily got a little bit of kickstart, just kind of subtly, just to sort of give it all that sort of driving, sort of dancey, you want to move feeling.
Is that on the entire vocal chain?
Yeah, it is. I think it's automated, so it sort of goes up and down in different places, which is actually another key thing I think about this production, is that there's lots of automation, so everything sort of is evolving and changing, which is kind of the more sort of dance influence in there. It's quite a pop track, but we try to get that sort of dance, progressive, sort of housey sort of vibe in there.
Do you have anything that you really go to when it comes to processing vocals?
Yeah, I think I love Pro Q3 as a digital EQ. This is quite subtle actually for what I'd usually do. But yeah, there'd usually be a high pass. I think I'd actually done some processing on another sort of version of this track. So might be a bounce out of that vocal. So usually I would high pass that. But yeah, a bit of micro shift from Sound Toys, widen it up a bit. OTT just makes everything sound great. So that's on there. That's it really. I'm sure there's other bits and bobs.
She's got an amazing voice anyway.
You don't need to do much with that.
No, definitely not.
No, exactly.
When it comes to all the synths, what are you using with that? Do you have like multiple synths that you prefer to go to, or do you have just one that you use for everything?
It's kind of different. If I'm sort of starting a song, I might sort of pull out plug-in like synths that I haven't used for a while, or new stuff I've downloaded just to spark something off. But with this, I've kind of gone with my sort of trusty Arturia mini Moog type thing to get all these sort of pulsing arpeggios. So this is actually probably the main synth part in the tune. If I just play this, and then you'll see there's quite a lot of automation throughout the song. So yeah, it just comes out for the verse there.
What are you automating?
So on here we've got quite a lot of volume changes as we go through the verse into the pre. We've got a cut-off on the Moog, so it sort of starts to brighten up as we go through. Some reverb. Yeah, we kind of got this reverb's just sort of getting a bit more and more. Oh no, that's the chorus. Where's the pre? So in the pre, it sort of just gets washed out to create the drop. And also you'll see that kickstart is coming away as well. So it's not pumping, and then suddenly
for the drop, it kind of brings in and gives it that drive again.
Yeah, I think there's something really cool about just taking away that side chaining before the drop, because then you're almost taking away that groove, and then when you've come into the chorus, it kicks back in, and yeah, hopefully it gets your head nodding.
Nice. What about like the pads? It's quite lush.
Yeah, we went quite simple in that regard. We kind of just went for more drones and arpeggiating stuff. So I think we've got this thing going along. What is this? Serum. I think I just made this from scratch. I think it's just a sawtooth, and I'm just sort of modulating the detune.
And is that being kickstarted as well?
Yeah, that has been kickstarted. Bit of panning, Valhalla again. Yeah, so that's kind of, and I think there's another. Oh, there you go. There's your pad. Can't remember what that is now. I think I've got that one frozen at the moment because my computer probably crashed if I unfreeze it. Yeah, I think we've got the Mini Moog again doing like an organ-y sort of sound.
And this is all when it builds into the drop. So when it comes to the drop, what is that sound? What are the synths and what are the things that are driving behind that drop? So
the bass is definitely a big player there. So I've got two basses just sort of doubled up. We've got again the Mini Moog. It's that real 80s vibe. But I've also got another similar sort of sound on what is this, sub boom bass by Rob Papin, and that's kind of giving a bit more definition to the mid range.
I love that. It's got that synthwave kind of vibe.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It's definitely quite popular, this kind of sound right now. I'm definitely hearing it a lot in a lot of pop music. It's very inspired by the kind of 80s synthwave kind of vibe.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm obsessed with that stuff. So it's great. Yeah, so that's kind of the backbone of the chorus. And then we've got a similar sort of sound in the verse, which is my microbrutes, Arturia microbrute. So it's kind of a similar sound, just a little bit less aggressive.
And does that give you most of the low end of the track?
Yeah, I think in the verses that's kind of like the prominent bottom end sort of thing. And then with the kick is obviously doing all those sort of bass duties. I think that, again, the kick is kind of, there's some automation going on here as well. I think we've got quite a light kick here. And then it sort of kind of filters down just to really bring in that sort of pre-chorus thing. When the bass comes in as well, it's quite a nice moment.
And is that kick the same kick that you use for the drop?
Yeah, it is. Although I've got it on a different channel just because I wanted to treat it a bit differently. So what have we got? Yeah, and then if you listen to the chorus, it sounds a bit more chunky, I think.
So you've got the filter open up when it comes to the synth as well.
Well, in this case, I've got new synths in the chorus there. It's different from the verse.
Okay.
The microbrute wasn't quite doing it. It wasn't, because the microbrute's only got one oscillator. It wasn't giving me that beating, detuned chorusing sort of thing. So yeah, I would have done it. I love something about real synths, but it just wasn't quite doing it, and I didn't have a real Moog, so yeah.
It's a lot of money. It's a lot of money to put that. We have one though. We have one in the school. Next time you can come over, you can borrow it.
Yeah, I'll borrow it, exactly.
And all in all, how long did it take for you to get this project out?
This one's quite quick, actually. I think we kind of knocked it out mostly all in one day.
Wow.
Just all the sort of core sort of ingredients of it, and then I spent maybe 2-3 days just sort of tweaking, and yeah, it's quite quick. It kind of just produced itself, really.
Must have been very inspired then.
Yeah. I mean, the song's so good. You just kind of get into it every time you play it.
Yeah, definitely.
Vivienne's voice is so good.
Well, if you guys want to have a listen to the track, it's out on all of the big DSPs. We'll put all of that in the description below, so if you want to go and listen to it, make sure you go do that right now. But thank you so much for joining us again, Harry Shadow, our later signing on to Point Blank Recordings, and we look forward to hearing more from you soon.
Cheers. Thanks.